Fire, water, earth, and air. The four elements of the movie Elemental. There are four elements in this movie, but the story is only about two of the elements because this is an original story and this is the best we could do. Elemental is the kind of movie where they try their best to transfer the good idea in their head onto paper, but they couldn't transfer it all exactly how they wanted to, and so it resulted in some kind of error in the system or something. Elemental's creative cousin, however, Zootopia, did not fail to do this. Zootopia is a place where predators and prey live in harmony and sing kumbaya. Not my words. And it's also a place where the background characters actually matter to the story, unlike its distant cousin. Elemental is a place where elements are racist toward fire, even though they probably needed to heat up their food and warm their cold hands. With Zootopia's concept, the story has so much depth, and it is presented beautifully. The centered conflict in the movie was created for a reason, and it made sense with the surrounding environment. The idea that predators and prey are living in harmony, what could go wrong? There was many directions this movie could have taken. In Elemental, however, the centered conflict was the fact that Wade and Ember couldn't be together because they're two different elements and they can't mix for whatever reason. The problem with this movie involving elemental characters was that the story did not need the characters to be elements. And it's actually sad that it was used because since the focus of the movie was on Wade and Ember, the air and earth elements were left behind as third wheels. Either that or they were only included in the movie for the element puns. If Elemental wanted to fully use the entire four-element world idea, the story needed some depth. I mean, the story could have been about all the elements staying in a certain part of the city to avoid each other, but eventually realizing that they need each other to keep their world going. For example, all the elements could have a collective hate towards fire and basically bully all the fire elements for being destructive or something. But then they can all realize that fire has its positives. I mean, I'm not sure what all the elements eat, but I know for sure that fire serves a purpose in my life. I mean, how do all the elements keep warm? How do they boil pasta if they eat pasta? I mean, give the characters something to let them know that they need each other. There's no way that these four elements were put into this world and are not meant to work together on something. The problem with the love story is that we don't give Wade and Ember a reason as to why they can't be together. Has there been past incidents that have shown the elements that they need to live separated? We could use our real life knowledge for that, but this isn't real life. This is creativity we're talking about. Instead of Wade and Ember only using their powers to either show affection or to save the fire people from drowning, how about we give them a scenario that'll require them to use their powers for the entire world? What if there was a massive storm or natural disaster that required every single one of the elements to work together and use their powers within? Or maybe there could be an immigrant issue in the world because the movie did touch on this topic. What if there was an overpopulation of the fire element and the city's climate started to warm up a bit? Not only can overpopulation work, but what about a decline in one of the elements' population? What if there was a decline in the water element, which resulted in the city struggling through a drought? I can see how this would majorly affect the earth element because earth is made up of plants and stuff. But do you see where I'm getting at? There are endless possibilities to work with when you have such a vague but beautiful concept such as four elements. This is where Zootopia went right. The writers understood that the concept of predators and prey living together needs a storyline where they interact together. In both movies, the characters need to understand that they need each other to keep their world afloat. Everyone has a role in life, but the most important concept for characters to understand is that they're not the only one in their world. That's what some movies forget when they start writing and creating characters. You'll have concepts like Elemental come to life, but they'll miss the foundation of a story that is structured with a purpose. My advice to anyone who wants to make a movie or wants to write a script for a movie or wants to write anything with a story, make sure your writing doesn't fall short. Make sure your characters have a purpose. In the end, both movies were entertaining, but only one of them opened my eyes to a deeper meaning of life. Only one of them used world building to really snatch the attention of the audience and show them this is how movies should be made. And I get Elemental may not be about the world building, maybe the writers only wanted to focus on the love story, but then that just leaves people like me looking for a movie that just has it all. People want movies with a great story, great world building, and great comedy, which is why Zootopia is my preferred choice and admiration. Zootopia knows what it wants, and Elemental is still trying to figure it out. Overall, both movies were enjoyable, and these are just two examples of movies with amazingly talented people behind them. And just for that, I'm glad they exist. There is, of course, more room for improvement, but sometimes you gotta not just look on the bright side, but you gotta be the bright side.